Okay, so we are recording now. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the session. First formal session, probably. There have been many more sessions in the past, but this is a formal session where folks from every team got opportunity to join and start learning Mint. So we are going to start from Mint for serialized shipment because that's the most standard use case that we have for Mint. Um, and again, out of the other use cases that are part of Mint for serialized shipment, in today's session, we'll focus on just one use case, which is being able to send serialized shipment data from Mint owner and SOM owner company to the partner company. So we'll focus on that use case, but we will learn a lot about Opus concepts in general. And then we will also see how you configure your B2B integration so that you enable your system to deliver those transactions from owner as well as partner side. Now, whatever we learn here, that would also be applicable. So most of the part will also be applicable for any type of Mint configuration. So be it for Mint for business transactions as well. There will be a slight difference, but we'll get to that when we start learning Mint for business transactions in the future sessions. So with that, let me start with what is the objective of this training. So what you will be able to do after this training. So first is we hope that we will be able to understand the Opus terminology. So different terminologies that we use on Opus, what is network, what is team, what is owner, partner, and so on. So those will be the basics. And then after that, we will learn why Mint for serialized shipment is needed, right? So on TTS, we are already exchanging serialized shipment data with partners. So why specifically Mint is needed for serialized shipment? And then we will learn how to configure the owner system and the partner system so that owners can send the serialized data to partners and partners can receive it on a B2B connection on their side. And then one of the things that is going to be very important for all of you is how to navigate to different Opus applications, right? So now, as of today, if we need to log into Opus, we don't. So some of us know, and some of us might not know where do I log in, what to do after I log into the system, how do I navigate to different applications, what those applications mean, how do I troubleshoot a transaction, and more importantly, where do I look for a transaction? Where is this info exchange screens parallel on the Opus side? So we'll be able to do that as well. So agenda for today is defining the terminologies first, then serialized shipment overview, then the use case that I talked about, Mint owner sending transactions to partner. And then what we will do is I will open my system, my owner company. I'll share my screen and we'll start with the configurations. And those who already have a company set up, they can join me, they can log into their test companies and repeat the activities that we are doing on the call. If you do not have a test company ready, or maybe you do not have a test company so far, then you can just follow along, right? Try and learn the concepts because everything is documented on a wiki page along with all the steps, and we are recording this session, so that will be useful once you have your test company available to you. Once all the configurations are completed, then we'll do a testing. So the testing would involve creating a batch on TTS. So you download a couple of numbers on TTS, you commission them, create a batch, and then we create a SOM sales shipment on TTS. And then we'll see how that SOM sales shipment reflects on Opus and how does it get delivered to the partner. We'll also touch upon some basic troubleshooting stuffs because troubleshooting itself is needs to be a session or series of sessions. So we'll just touch upon basic troubleshooting steps, and then we'll discuss the next steps. And then there are some useful links that are also added to this presentation. Okay, so with that, let me first get into the Opus terminology. So these three terms, network, solution, and app, are the most important terms when you get into the Opus. So let's start from the bottom. So what is an application? Application on Opus is headless. So applications by themselves have no user interface. You cannot see an application, but you can interact with an application in form of the APIs that those applications provide. Right? So applications provide the APIs to interact with them, to send data to them, to query data from them, and so on. And also the business logics, right? So how, as far as Mint is concerned, when we send a transaction, what happens to that transactions? What are the different states it goes through before it gets delivered to a partner? So that is an application. And then we have a solution. So anything that you see on Opus when you log in, the user interface that you see is the solution, right? So when we say Mint, Mint is actually a solution, right? The corresponding app is MPC, as it was called earlier, or now it is called MPL, Multi-Enterprise Process Link, right? So you must have seen these release notes that you keep on getting on emails. So there in the release note, you will always see, when it is for an Opus release, you will always see a combination of app and corresponding solution. So you'll see MPL and Mint solution. You will see SCWM and Poet in future, I believe, if I'm not wrong. We can see Poet. Yeah, so that's how you, when the engineering team releases it, it is a combination of an app and the corresponding solution that gets released. And then the network. So network is one of the unique capabilities of multi-enterprise applications, where the multi-enterprise applications allow you to create a shared collaborative space between the owner and the partner. So there will be a shared collaborative space created by the owner of the application, and then partners can also collaborate on that space, right? So very important terms. Remember, any questions so far? What is Teams? How is the Teams different from the network? We'll come to the Teams. Okay, now different Opus application types, right? So there are multiple types of applications. So enterprise applications are the applications which are licensed to each company. Every company owns this application, right? Now, you cannot link any partners with your enterprise application. So like I said, in multi-enterprise applications provide you with a unique capability of creating a process network where you can link your partners and then share that workspace. But enterprise applications will not have a link partner. But they can be integrated to a company's external system. And we'll talk about that. One of the examples of enterprise application is your XTT application on Opus, which allows you to create and manage your B2B connections. So unlike the TTS world, where when we needed SFTP or AS2 connection for a company, we used to create a ticket and then get that account created. On Opus, using the XTT application, you can create your own B2B connections by yourself without opening any CloudOps ticket. Now, when you create that B2B connection, it can be integrated with an external ER.
Yeah.
Is there a question? Okay. Okay. Some more examples of enterprise applications are master data application, XTT as we talked about, and the compliance applications, which are licensed for the owner company itself. Every company owns this application. Then the multi-enterprise applications. So multi-enterprise applications will be licensed to a company, with that company would be the owner of the multi-enterprise application. And then the owner of a multi-enterprise application can create the process networks where they can link the partners on the process network and start collaborating. Right? So one of the things that you'll see here is enterprise and multi-enterprise applications, both by default will have a solution associated to it so that you can interact with the enterprise or multi-enterprise application. And also based on customer needs, if they need to customize their solution, they can choose to do that. Okay. Some of the examples of multi-enterprise application, one is Mint and the other one is Poet. Then the third type of application is called system applications. So system applications are the applications which provide the capability for the applications to interact with each other or talk to each other. Now, the system applications are not specific to a particular type of application, for example, a particular enterprise application or a multi-enterprise application. So these system applications, they may or may not have a solution, right? So for example, one of the examples of system application on Opus is B2B transaction processor application, which when the customer files are sent to a B2B connection, it takes care of getting that file, transforming it, and then sending the file to business applications, right? Now, the system applications are by default available for every entity on the network. So companies do not need to license system applications separately. Okay. So they are available for everyone. We just need to configure the system application so that it can be utilized with every company. And then finally, user applications. Again, it's the same thing. User application also by default are available to everyone. For example, the notification panel, my profile panel, and inbox, those are the examples of user application. They are available when your instance is created on the network. Okay, now system application and user applications, since those applications provide the underlying capability of the platform, if they have a solution associated to them, so system applications do not need a solution always associated to them, but even if they have a solution associated to them, that solution cannot be customized. Okay. Any questions so far? And also feel free to drop your questions on the chat, and we'll try and respond to that. But in the interest of time, let me go ahead.
Just one question, Alok. You said that MPC become MPL, correct?
Yes.
MPL stand for?
Multi-enterprise process link.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Okay. Now some other concepts. So owner, whenever we use the term owner, which means a customer or a company which has licensed a particular application. So in case of enterprise applications, every company will be owner of their own enterprise applications. But in case of multi-enterprise application, we need to see who is the owner or who has the license for the multi-enterprise application. Partner, again, partners who do not license the application, but they are linked to the owner's network and they can collaborate with the owners. Now, the link is a one-to-one relationship between owner and partner in context to a process network, right? Now, when we get into hands-on, when we start creating our process network, when we start linking the partners to the process network, then this concept will get clear. So when you create a link, you have to first define for which process network you are going to create a link. When you create a process network, you define for which application you are creating a process network, right? So, so the link is something which will create this collaborative space or shared context that we were talking about, using which owners and partners can collaborate. The last line, I don't think it is correct. A link can have only one partner. A link can have only one partner. Yes, that is correct.
So it's only, so basically, if I'm using 500 transactions between a partner and a customer, the link is only set up once.
Yes, as long as it is the same owner, same partner. Yes, there is only one link, and then you can share as many transactions as you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Network, again, network relates to process network. So it is a network owned by company. And once, so it is by the owning company or owner of the application. And once the network is created, a process network is created, it can have one or more processes. So for example, it can have serialized shipment as a process. It can have external manufacturing, commerce, logistics. Those are sort of different processes that it can have. Depending on the, again, everything that I'm saying here, or most of the things that I'm saying here, are in context of Mint, but these concepts apply to, in general, to Opus, not to Mint specifically. Right? Now team. So essentially, team and links can be used interchangeably. Right? So every link on the network represents a team. So if you have a link between owner and a partner, then there is a team created, process team concept created between owner and that partner. It is useful. The concept itself is useful in some of the things when we try and assign roles for a particular team. We can combine some roles, but we will learn that later. But for now, essentially think of team and link as the same. And then finally, process. So process is the business objective. So process can be your, for example, it can be in terms of, if I'm not speaking about Mint, it can be compliance exception is one process, or creating tasks on SAWM can be another process. External manufacturing orchestration can be a process altogether, right? So that is a specific business objective that you are trying to achieve. Okay, so multi-enterprise network, how that network is created. So if you see here, A is a company which has some partners on the network. So it can be company 1, company 2, or B. Now, A creates a process network because A is the owner of a multi-enterprise application. So A creates a human health process network and links company 1, company 2, and company B on their human health process network. So there is a network created that has 3 links for 3 different partners, right? Now there comes another partner of A, which is partner number 3, but they are not part of A's human health network, right? They work with A, but within a different business relationship. So they work for animal health medicines or animal health products. So A, because they want to keep their data separate for human health process network and animal health process network, they create another process network called as animal health, and they link partner 3 on their new process network, animal health process network. Now B, which is a partner of A on human health process network, can also have its own partners. They can be customers, they can be suppliers, right? Now, if B also is an owner of TraceLink's multi-enterprise application, such as Mint, they have this ability to create their own process network as well, right? So B creates their own process network called as branded. And now B links their 3 partners and A on the other process network where the owner of the process network is B. And now A acts as a partner for B on the branded process network. So you see there, A has linked B to their human health process network and B has linked A to their branded process network. So that's how the multi-enterprise network works.
Still
Right?
one link.
No, so these are 2 different links because these are in context of a process network, right? Then A has another supplier C, and supplier C will also in turn have their own supplier, and C creates a process network called as a human health, right? And C can link now their partners, those 2 different partners, and A on their human health process network. So that's how the concept of the network exists on the platform, right? So any owner of the multi-enterprise application can create the process network and then link multiple partners on that process network.
Is there a way to distinguish process networks? Because we told me named everything. We can.
There is a way, and that is why we are doing hands-on, right? So that we know when we log into the system, how to differentiate between these process networks, how to know when I'm as an owner log into the system, how do I see my process network and how do I see my partner's process network or where I'm acting as a partner.
There's a question.
Okay, questions chat. What is the difference between B and C? B and C are different owners on the network. So they are also Mint owners. They also exist on the network and they have this ability to create the process network. They can act as a partner in each other's process network. So C can act as a partner in A's process network if A has created for that. But in this example, A and B are acting as partners on each other's process network. So this is just an example to show how actually the network effect comes into picture and how different entities are linked on the network. Now, each link, as we talked about earlier, each link is a T, right? So, and you can also, we will touch upon this concept of a supplier and customer. But depending on your role in the supply chain, you can either act as a customer or act as a supplier on a particular process network. Then before we get into the user interface or before we start logging into our company's Opus Ensemble, so it gives you a sort of overview of how to navigate to Opus system. What are the different options when you are logged into the Opus system? So when you log into your Opus company, on the left top side, you will see those 9 dots. Those represents the main menu, right? If your company licenses an enterprise, a multi-enterprise application, or is a partner of another company which owns the multi-enterprise application, you will see the My Network and Partner Network option there. Now, My Network option helps you when the company is the owner of the process network, right? So you go to My Network and in the drop down below, so patience here. In the drop down below, so this is your process network composer. You guys not see this? You can, but I'm trying to use annotations and that. Well, so let's see if I have some other options. Okay, maybe this works. It works on my system, but not there.
It's showing up on Zoom.
It is? Okay, then good. Okay, so this is a network composer, process network composer. So if an owner of the application logs into the Opus, they go to my network, they will be able to see the process network in list of dropdown if they have access to that, right? If they have rules for that. Then partner network, if your company is acting as a partner for owner's process network, you will navigate to this option. Again, you will be able to see different process network for different owners. Now below that, these are the enterprise applications that you see here. So company administration, extensible trace link transfer AWS. Short form for this is XTT AWS. So you will see that, you'll see master data exchange, and depending on what all applications are licensed for your company and for what all application the user has the correct role, those applications will appear here. Network Composer tab, I talked about it. When you have a multi-enterprise application, you from the list of the drop-down, you can select the process network, right? Now, once the process network is selected, on the left-hand side, you will have menus and sub-menus. So you can navigate to that for different options, and we'll see that when we log into the system itself. The environment indicator. So on Opus, when you log into the company, you can switch the environment after logging into the company. So unlike TTS, where we have two different URLs for two different environments, on Opus, we have just one single URL. So you log into that, and then the context can be switched between validation and production within the system. So this indicator here will show whether we are logged into validation on production. Then notification icon, click for support and click for help. These options are also available here. And then you have your personal settings, company names. If a TraceLink user is added to more than one companies as external user. So you log into your single sign-on login. And then in the drop-down itself, you will be able to see the companies where the user has been added as an external user. So you'll be able to navigate to those companies or log into those companies as well. Again, this will all, we will do it when we log into the company. We'll start doing it. We'll start navigating to different options. Okay. So finally, I believe this is the final slide. For administration, we have two roles. This is for company administration app. So system administrator, which is very similar to company administration role on PPS side. So if you have a system administration role, you can do all the system administration functionalities. For example, you can configure your system, you can add users, you can assign roles to user for different applications. And then app administrator is very similar to service administrator on TTS side, where you are administrator for a particular application only. So you can only do the configurations related to that application. Okay. So that concludes the first part. So we are getting some questions on the chat.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Lakshmi. Okay, so with that, what we'll do first is we'll get into the overview of serialized shipment first, right? And then from there, we will get into the actual hands-on configuration. So meant for serialized shipment. First of all, who requires it? And if it is needed, so when we did not have a solution for Mint for serialized shipment, then what customers would do, right? So the first thing we all know, we all have worked on TTS and we are still working on TTS. So we know that now sharing the serialized shipment data or electronic data about a shipment is no longer only a compliance requirement. All the new systems that are built in, all the new processes that supply chain partners are building, most of them expect some sort of electronic information about the shipment that they are going to receive. And it helps them in many ways, like sometimes doing reconciliation of what was the product that was supposed to be shipped, what is the product that is shipped, and the serialized shipment information itself, whether it is available in their record or not, right? So apart from some compliances where it is required, it is unspoken rule of the life sciences that you are sharing the serialized shipment data with your partners whom you are shipping the products. Now, customers have taken different approaches for this. So initially, when we reach out to one of the customers, they had developed some sort of solutions on their own to achieve this, right? So they had to share the electronic data with their partners. So what they did is they developed a sort of homegrown program in which they used to query the information from TTS, create a sort of EPCIS file, and then manually over email send it to their partners, right? And they themselves accepted that there were many issues in that. When they were doing it, there were many issues. They worked for more than an year, if I'm not wrong, and still they were not able to get onto a concrete solution, right? So that's why when we reached out, they started expressing their interest meant for serialization.
We do have workflows also, right? In order to send the files from.
That is a good question. So we'll come to that as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is a question why we can't use TPS to exchange the serialized shipment data, and why do we specifically need Mint, right? So we'll come to that. So again, we talked about this, why Mint for serialized shipment is needed. And then some of the examples would also include some of the compliance requirements, like where distributors are allowed to do the reporting. So if MAH can share all the serialized shipment data with them, distributor can take care of the reporting by themselves, right? And as we discussed, that if you take any other approach, first of all, it's not integrate once approach, you integrate once and then interoperate with others. If you have 10 partners and those 10 partners need serialized shipment data in 10 different formats, or there is a variation, even a slight variation, you have to keep on developing your solution to support all those partners. But when they come to the TraceLink, the unique feature that we allow them is that they integrate once with us with TraceLink, their data format is fixed, and then they interoperate with the partners without worrying about the partners formats, right? So they keep on adding partners on their network. Okay, so this is the point that you were talking about. Why we don't use, or we don't encourage to use TTS for exchanging serialized shipment data for other than compliance requirements, is because when you link someone on TTS side, and this comes from this document, so you have the link to the document. That link is created thanks to Greg. He has documented all these things very well. So whenever you are having a conversation with your customers, you can use this as well if discussion comes up, right? So on the TTS side, when you create a link, partners subscribe to the owner's SOM. Now, when they subscribe to the owner's SOM, partners like 3PLs have this ability to even update the data in the owner's SOM, right? So you can do update, 3PLs can do update transactions, query transactions, and so on. And when they are doing it, they are doing directly to the owner's SOM, right? Now, that is a huge risk. When your partner is able to connect to your repository and being able to update the data as well. For serialization, for compliance requirement, we need to give them access so that they can do certain operations which compliance allows them to do. But for all the other use cases, so except for US compliance and except for Russia affiliate workflow, right? We would not want them, when the change of ownership happens, we would not want partners to be able to update the repository, right? Also, on the TTS, the workflow that we have, that workflow is majorly, apart from US compliance and Russia affiliate workflow, the workflow is for the transfer shipment, right? Where there is no change of ownership involved. Okay. So, for example, CMO creates a shipment for MEH and your sale type is either transfer export or transfer in country. But in this use case, there is a change of ownership involved. So actually you are selling the products from one party to another party, or supplier is sending the products to the customer, right? So distributors are receiving products from MAHs, for example, or even further down the supply chain. So this is the reason why we are not encouraging people and not allowing anyone to use the SOM on TTS to exchange the serialized shipment data, and rather use Mint for serialized shipment, because with Mint, they will never have access to the system of records of owner. Okay. So I would request everyone to just go through this page and then get ready with any sort of responses. If you get asked these questions, you will have a response ready. Okay. Now, how is Mint used to exchange serialized shipment data? So how do you use Mint, right? Now, so we are not going to talk about configuration steps as of now, but in general, the idea is that seller, so just take an example, there is a distributor who wants to buy products from MH, right? So when MH ships the product to them, or before shipping the product to them, they go to their SOM. Now SOM already has all the serialized data available in SOM, in their record. So they create a SOM sale shipment, outbound delivery. And in that outbound delivery, what they do is that they choose the sale type as sale in country or sale export. ESM sale in country, ESM sale export are also allowed, right? And then based on the ship to country in the outbound delivery. So there are certain set of countries that are enabled for Mint. So only for those countries you can exchange the serialized shipment data. So if one of those countries is the ship to country, then what TTS does is TTS will send a message to Opus via jump boxes. Opus will receive the message, and then a canonical will get generated. Mint will consume that canonical. Mint will show the transaction on the UI, and then it will deliver the transaction outbound to the partner. So here, the important thing is that the source of the data in this use case is the serialized operations manager. So your serialized operation manager should have the data, serial numbers commissioned, a batch created, so that you can create an outbound delivery. Okay. And on the partner side, partners can choose which B2B connection method they want to use. They can use SFTP, they can use AS2, so that the files will be placed on that B2B channel, and then they can receive the files from there in their format. Okay.
What if the country connection is not there, like US?
Good question. So for US, since US is a compliance application, right, we already allow customers exchanging data for US on TTS. Will not be enabling US for Mint, right? But if there is a country where there is no active regulation compliance requirement, and your customers want to exchange data with that country, we simply need to create a ticket and assign it to Mint team, and they will enable that country. So they just need to add the country into the list of filters that is allowed for. Yeah.
So these are the only countries for which.
As of now, yes. to the best of my knowledge. I don't know if we have added new countries as well, but we can get the full list. Yes, as of now, these are the.
Yes, you're right.
But you can add.
We
You can
just
create a
added
request.
Azerbaijan, I think.
Yes, we did. Yes, thank you, Lakshmi.
Hmm.
Is there an option to if there is a compliance change in any of the countries or the recent country, so that would be a push-in from the roadmap, or that would be any if there would be any options in the Mint as well to enable it or disable.
As of now, no. I don't know if there is a plan for that. I don't know if someone from Mint team is also
I think-
here.
Yeah, I'm there, Alok. So,
Yes. Go ahead.
it's Anand here. So I think whatever Alok is showing the list right now, we are supporting that. And if you have any, customer need, or if we have some customers, then I think we can add it in the list which we have. So right now there is no plan to add new country, but if there are requirements, then I think we'll have to prioritize on our roadmap.
Actually, I was talking about the compliance changes, like if there is any recent changes that are made into any of these countries regarding the compliance that is being going on. So would there be an option in the Mint to enable the compliance that is recently made in the country, or people will have to wait for the roadmap release?
Enable or disable?
Enable, disable both.
Okay. So Anand, so that would be user control. I don't think we'll do it if there is an
Yeah.
active compliance. So what we might do is, Swanand, on the TTS side for EU compliance, we have this list of countries boxes where you can check off a box which you
Yes.
want to generate reports for. So
Yes.
is there a similar plan for Mint? I don't know if there is, where
Basically,
services or customers can enable by themselves which country they want to exchange data with.
no, I think it's the list we maintain at the backend, and there you can add as a country code you can add. But right now, if a user does not have that control. Services or anyone from a product team can do that. But the question is for the reports, I believe. I mean, Mint is only taking care of the serialized shipment pass through one owner to their partner. But the reporting will actually happen in the reporting app, like the compliance apps. I mean, Bahrain, then Brazil or Azerbaijan. So the reporting part will be always in the compliance, but the serialization shipment, like if they want to see the shipment record, they can see it in the Mint. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if those are compliance reports, for example, I don't know if you have a compliance report for Kyrgyzstan, but if this is a compliance report, then you'll go to Opus and you'll go to Kyrgyzstan compliance module, and there you will see that report generated, which is uploaded or sent to the portal itself. The serialized shipment information would be part of it. Okay. Thank you, Swanan. Lakshmi and Swanan, I think you guys are taking care of the questions in the chat, but if there is something for me, just let me know. Okay, so with that, I think we are on time. We get into the use case, which I call use case 1, because there are other use cases as well. But we will cover this use case for today, which is a Mint owner. So a company which licenses Mint, and they are also the SOM owner. So on TTS, they own all the serialization module, and SOM is their system of record. So SOM owner and Mint owner, they are sending a serialized shipment to their partner, right? So how do we set up that use case? How do we configure it? So in this case, the SOM or Mint owner acts as a supplier and the partner acts as a buyer or as a customer. Okay. So the partner, which can either request for the products, so they are either purchasing the product, so they act as a buyer or customer, and SOM and Mint owner is supplying the products to them, so they act as a supplier. Now this is very important because based on this, we define the roles on Mint so that you can see the transactions detail. Okay. Now, so if you look at the diagram here, so starting from the left. So the sender system can be their L3 system or some other system where they create and generate the transaction, the SOM sale shipment transaction to their SOM, right? So sender system will generate the message in form of TraceLink XML, for example, and it will send that message to TraceLink TTS. Now, when TTS receives that message, or you can log into the user interface and create an outbound delivery, right? So when that delivery is created, data generated on the serialized message generated on TTS is sent to Opus via jump boxes. So there is a jump box on TTS side, there is a jump box on Opus side. So from TTS to Opus, data is shared with the help of jump boxes. So this is a mechanism which ensures that the data, serialization data, is shared from one platform to another platform. Once the data is received in the Opus jump box, so this happens as of today as well, when you do certain action on TTS and it generates the compliance reports on Opus, right? So the same mechanism is followed. On the Opus side, when Opus receives this data, then there is a canonical change that happens, which will convert the TTS canonical into Opus canonical, and then canonicals will get generated. We'll get into a deeper discussion sometime later. I have a presentation attached to this one as well, where we talk about how data moves from TTS to Opus. But when an Opus canonical or mint canonical is generated, right? Now this canonical has all the data record. Then this canonical, before going to Mint or MPC application, it passes through what is called as a post-processing transform here, right? Now, this post-processing transforms are very similar to any other transform. So what does a transform do? An inbound transform, when someone is sending data into TraceLink, the inbound transform converts the data format into a format which is known to us canonical, right? And on the outbound side, our application sends out the canonical, and outbound transforms convert that canonical into the outbound format. Post-processing transform is a similar concept, but the important distinction here is that the input for post-processing transform is a canonical file, as you can see here, the canonical that comes from Opus, and the outbound or output from the post-processing transform is also a canonical, right? So in this case, with this post-processing transform, input and output, inbound and outbound, both are canonicals, right? So what it does is it just modifies the canonical or updates the canonical with certain parameters. These parameters can be user-defined. So if a user wants to change the canonical, we can do that, and there will be use cases for that as well. We will learn about that. Or this post-processing transform can be used to define the process network. We will see that also in future sessions, or define subtype. So where your transaction should go on Mint and which of the menu items or sub-menu items it should appear, right? So when we assign roles, we will see where the transaction goes and sits, right? So that happens through the post-processing transform. Now, post-processing transform are always invoked when a data is sent into an application inbound, right? So in this case, the owner is sending data inbound, right? So SOM owner and Mint owner is same, but they are sending the data inbound. So post-processing transform got invoked. But even if the partner was sending data inbound, they would have still be sending it to the owner's Mint, right? Because partners don't own Mint. So even then, the same post-processing transform would get invoked before data reaches to Mint. Again, we will discuss that. There is another use case for that, but I just wanted to mention it. So post-processing transforms are always invoked on the inbound side. The input to post-processing transform is a canonical, and the output is also a canonical. Unlike any other transforms that we see where the input or output depending on the use cases. One is a customer format and then other one is canonical. So once the modified canonical is generated, it goes to Mint or MPL application, and then on to the Mint UI, you can see the transaction. When the transaction is generated, Mint goes through its step, the business logics that we talk about. Any application will have set of business logics. So the transaction goes through those business logics and then gets delivered to the partner's transform. So this transform that you see here is set up on a partner side, right? So the outbound canonical, which is generated by Mint application, goes to the partner's transform. And then partner transform converts this canonical to an actual outbound file, which is then placed to the receiver's AS2 or SFTP connection. XTT is an enterprise application. So receivers own this application. They can create their own SFTP or AS2, link it such a way that any transaction that is received from Mint goes to their SFTP connection. And from there, the receivers can pick the messages. Okay. Any questions so far?
Just one question, why PPT at owners, and could you please revisit that concept?
I will. So maybe not in this session, but in future sessions, we might have a dedicated session on post-processing transforms, right? Because this in itself would be a separate session. But if you want more details in the next slides where we discuss the configuration steps, we have a link to the wiki page where you can find more information related to post-processing transform. You can find the concept of post-processing transform, why it is needed, why it is required. So I would request go through that. Still, we will have future sessions where we'll talk about post-processing transform in detail or more details. Okay, so I think now we are into the actual hands-on where we need to log into the system and start doing the actual hands-on. Now, so before we start doing that, those of you who had their company's information available on the Google Sheet, you should have now access as a system administrator if you did not have it earlier. So when you log into your system, you would be able to see the company administration option if you navigate to those 9 dots, right? And then from there, we can take care of the rest. If you have access to other applications, we will assign that. We'll create a process network. If not already created in your system, if there are steps that are already done in your company, for example, if process network is already created or something else has already been configured, just follow along. Don't repeat it. Don't do it, because as of now, the post-processing transform that is deployed to your companies can only identify or resolve a single process network, right? So if you create more than one process network in your system, your post-processing transform will not know to which process network it should send the data. So it will fail. So if you already have it, I will keep on talking about which options you should not do if you already have it available. So please focus on that. Now, what we expect is that the owner company that you have that will already be licensed for the master data, CTCM, MPC, and company administration application. So we will see that as well. I'll show that in my company and you can follow along. And then the partner company will have these applications licensed. Owner company must have master data migrated to Opus. So a very simple way to know that is when you go to your Opus company, you go to master data on Opus. If you can see all the master data that you have created on TTS appears on the Opus, it means your master data is migrated. You make any real-time changes in TTS, the data will be reflected to Opus and vice versa. And then, as I said, you should have a system administration access. So as of today, system. So first system administrator needs to be assigned by ATS from backend, and then that system administrator can create other system administrators or assign roles to other system administrators as well. Post-processing transforms are already deployed. So think of post-processing transform as a customer transform. So there are some standard transforms, which in TTS, if you think about it, these are standard maps. Once those maps are released by engineering team, what you can do is you can simply take that map, go to Info Exchange profiles, and upload the maps there, right? So similarly, on Opus side, we will have some standard maps which will be available. And there will be an option to choose customer transforms or customer maps as well. Now, those customer transform or customers map will specifically be deployed for that company. Post-processing transform needs to be also deployed in the company itself, which company is using. So that this activity of deploying it as of today is achieved by the ATS ticket. So all the companies that are mentioned in the sheet, for them, post-processing transform is already deployed. So we just have to enable this, and we'll do that as part of our demo activity. So without any delay, let's get into demo activity so that we have enough time to complete this. Everyone has time. So the configuration steps for owner company. So first we will start with owner company, and we'll complete the configuration steps for owner. And then we will log into the partner company, and we'll do the steps for partner company as well. So for owner company, assuming we have system administrator access, we will create process network. We'll assign roles to our user. For process network for CTCM, we'll create a link with partner, which assumes that partner master data should already be available. So most of you might have partner master data available, which was shared already. If not, we'll say that, just follow along. Then we will configure the post-processing transform set for owner. We will create the inbound message setting and outbound message setting. So we will discuss that. So all these points that you see. Okay, is this better? Okay. Okay, so now I am logged into my Mint owner company. So those of you who have credentials for your owner company, please log into your company. And then once you are able to log in, you can go to these 9 dots, main menu, and click on here, right? Now, depending on what applications you have access for, you will get these options there. So I have this option called My Network, Partner Network, and this tab called Administration, right? So if you are a system administrator and you log into your company and you go to the main menu, you should see the administration option. So when you click to the administration option in the new tab, this will open. And on the left-hand menu, you will have these options of creating network link, users, B2B integration, and so on. Okay. Now, when you are into administration, what you can do is you can go to the network, and for my company, the network is already created, but you can click on Add Network. When you click on Add Network, the first thing that you will have to select is the application for which you want to create the network. And this is a process network. So only you can create process networks only for multi-enterprise applications. So the list of drop-down will show you the multi-enterprise application for which your company is licensed, right? So right now my company is licensed for Mint. So I select Mint in the application and then provide a name for the process network. So again, in this call, due to the lack of time, we did not discuss an important concept of the best practices to create the process network. But if you go to the presentation, if you go to the link and you click on that in the presentation, it will take you to a Confluence page, which tells you what are the best practices to create a process network, how should we create the process network, and how should we define it. Question? Okay. So now you will give a network name, a process network name for your company. But before that, those of you who can already see a process network created in your owner company, where your company's role is owner, please do not create a new process network, right? So I'm just going to tell you this is applicable for folks who have not created the process network already or who do not have the test company available, so they can just follow along. So I create a process network, I can name it any process network. Again, we need to follow the best practices. I can provide a description which is not required. The applied solution by default will always be standard solution, and we are not going to change it. We'll use the standard solution. What it means is on your process network, we are using the solution which was released by the engineering team, the latest solution which was released by the engineering team. Company solution is your specific solution for the customer that is created. Again, some other session, not this one. And then we'll click on add. So once you click on add, there will be a process network created. At this point of time, I would request Lakshmi, Swanan, just keep watching the chat. And if anyone has any issues, just let me know. If you're able to answer, then good. If you want me to answer, just let me know.
Yeah, sure. We're just trying to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So by this time, if you follow these steps, you should have a process network created for the owner, right? Now, when the process network is created, so then you have this multiple options, the set workflow subscription, and these options are not applicable for Mint as of now, but you can edit the network at any later time. You can change the name and description of the process network that you have created, okay?
If we edit the network name, then in PPT equal present alias we define the.
As long as you have one process network, you don't need to worry. Okay. So that's why you should have just one process network, because your post-processing transform is then generic. It's not your company's post-processing transform. Okay, so once you have a network created, the next step that I don't have here, I don't have access to the master data module. So what I will do here is first go to users. So you can see here I have access to my network, partner network, administration, but I do not have access to master data application for my company. Now master data is an enterprise application. So I'll go to users, I'll go to apps, right? Not to the network. Networks are for multi-enterprise application. So I'll go to the apps and I'll type master data, click on apply. And the admin user has access to the master data application. I am logged in as external user. I do not have access. So I'll click on plus icon. Sorry if I did it very quickly. So once I have this application selected, clicked on apply, then I can click on assign user to network. And if you are an internal user, you are assigning role to an internal user, you can select that user from the list of the dropdown. But in my case, I am logged in from my SSO. So that is an external user for this company. So I'll select this external user option. I'll select my email ID, team, which is my company, right? Because this is an enterprise application. So there is no link to the partner, okay? And then I select role, which is master data expanded UI access. And I will also select role access and I click on assign. Now, when I assign role, or when you will assign role user, you will, yeah.
One question, how do you select the right role? So like full access, master data administration, expanded classic access. Where can we see which one is the right one?
Right. So if you click on the link that is in the presentation, Luca, that will take you to a page which will tell you for each application which are the roles that you should be using. Now, these roles for each application should be available in the help section because the Confluence page is for our internal users. This information should be available publicly, which roles you assign for what operations. But if for now, the help link, I probably said it too early, should have checked it. So you should have this information available. So define your partners, all these steps you'll find here, and then add users. And at this point of time, I should also mention the TechCom teams, because the other content also that you saw initially, Opus terminology, all those different words that I used and the explanation that I used all came from the TechCom team, their presentation. So that all information is available publicly for anyone to access, right? It is not just internal. So hope that answers Luca. And for internal users, for if you want to do it pretty quickly, just to follow along, you can follow along with me, or you will find that information on the Confluence page also, which would be specific to a use case. For example, when we go to the Mint, the roles that you see on the Confluence page, that would be specific for that use case only.
Okay. Yeah, I will check the app guide. Okay, thank you.
Okay, now when you assign roles for an application, those settings does not appear immediately. For those settings to take place, you will have to log out and log into the system. Okay. Now, if you have just assigned your user access to the master data, so what I will suggest you at this point of time is that you log out and log into the system, and then verify if you can see the master data application here in the main menu as well. Right? So I'll just give a couple of minutes to do that. You can log out and log in. Okay. Okay. And when you are logged in again into the company, you will go to now, create the link, assuming your master data is already available. Okay. Okay. So one of the points that I would like to clarify here is the master data application as of now is in Gen 1. Master data has not been moved to Gen 2. So you might face issues sometimes when trying to load this iframe into the Gen 2 solution. So on the ensemble that you see, this part is on Gen 2, but the application itself is on Gen 1. So you might have some difficulties sometimes opening these applications. So you'll have to try different browsers maybe, or try incognito maybe, but that would work. And that is for a short time because master data release is due this year in August on validation. Now in link, what we are going to select is the multi-network option. Okay, so in order to see the links that are already created, first you will have to select the process network, right? So there is application, Mint, and then there is a process network. And then you can click on apply. Now what you will see here is you will see the network name. You will see who's the owner of the network. You will see the linked entity, which is the partner. What is the owner company role and what is the linked entity role. Okay. Now this is if you already have a partner company linked onto the process network. If you do not have a company linked already, you can click on this plus icon called add links. And when you click on add link, you can go to the application, select the application first. So before you could create a link, you need to select the application. It has to be a multi-enterprise application so that you can create the link. And then from the list of network dropdown, you will select the process network. So this is where your context gets defined. So one partner can be added for the same owner and partner combination can be added to multiple process network. If owner has 3 process networks, if for some reason owners want, they can add the same partner on 3 process networks. They can create 3 different links with the same partners because the links are in context of a process network, right? So you'll select the process network. Now this entity drop down gets the data from the master data, right? So from the master data, you will select the company identifier and then send notification to is completely optional. If you enter the list of email IDs here, those users will receive a notification that a link has been created. Okay. So once you have your application, your network, your entity, you would click on next.
Sorry, Alok, another question here.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the company ID? So if I go on the company level using the company ID or I use the GLN, is it the same, right?
It is the same, yes, because what they are doing is they are identifying the partner entity on the network.
Yeah.
So as long as there is an identifier which relates to an entity on the network, we will be able to link to the correct network or correct entity on the network. So,
Okay.
so it can be company ID.
Will company ID work? We don't store that on the network.
We
We only
don't.
store the global identity.
That's a good point. Yeah. We store GLN, right? So in this master data, my partner master data, I have company ID and I have GLN. So even if I create link with company ID, my master data has both. So it will query based on the GLN that we have, and that we maintain on the.
All right, I just want to make sure it references back to the other. Okay.
I would suggest Lakshmi. Yes, so that I would suggest we keep it for later. Okay.
Okay.
So yes, there will be exceptions, as Lakshmi was talking about. So not for maybe serialized shipment, because for serialized shipment, we assume that they will have global identifiers like GLNs or SGLNs, which we can maintain on the partner page, because that is the requirement from EPCIS, not from our side. But for other type of partners, when they are exchanging business transactions, we might have exceptions where the partners might not have the global identifiers, which we can maintain on the network. But then we'll take a different approach. We'll talk about that approach in the future sessions, right? If you're doing Mint for serialized shipment, you will mostly have the global identifiers for the company in form of GLS and SG. So let's click on next.
Sorry, Alok, just
now
one
the
question.
rules. Yeah.
While we are selecting the links, entity to link here, so the data is coming only from the partner master data or the location of the company itself?
It is coming from company as well as partner master data. So you can link to either a partner company or you can link to one of the locations of your own company.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Now for the roles. So this role is required so that you can see the transactions on the partner side, the transaction processing steps, right? And we'll see what this role does in some time. So all transaction partner admin, because we are assigning these roles for links. So these are the roles that we'll get. Now, all transaction partner admin, and with that, again, if you go to the wiki page, you will find these roles exactly. But let's think about what we were discussing earlier. So Mint owner is sending serialized shipment data to partner, right? Partner is customer. And owner in our use case acts as a supplier. So the partner roles that we will need, the roles are defined based on the process or choreography, business process or choreography, which is serialization, which will be in future external manufacturing, logistics, commerce, and so on. So first part is that. Second part is the role in the supply chain. So we are going to decide these roles for partners. Partners are acting as a customer in this use case. So serialization, which is a process, customer, which is the role in the supply chain. And then we have these two roles called expanded and standard. So one is view and edit, and one is view only. So we'll assign both the roles. But now this term here, this tells us whether the role is for partner company or owner company. If you don't see the word partner, for example, here, if we have this role, what it means is the partner company is also mint owner, right? Because the process is serialization, they are acting as a customer, but they are also mint owner. Whereas this role says the process is serialization or any orchestration. The partner entity works, or the supply chain entity acts as a customer. They are mint partners, and we are going to assign expanded and standard roles. So we are going to choose these two roles. Again, those roles are documented on the page, so you will find those exact roles from there. And then these are enough. You can go ahead and click on link. So once you click on link, because I already have linked with this company, so what happens is links will take some time to process, right? So now maybe immediately it goes into fails and then it appears as a successful link. So what will happen is it will take some time, hardly maybe a minute or two, and then it would appear here in the list of the linked entity, right? If for some reason it fails, you will see the link in the failed tab, and there should be an error description, not like this. Okay. So with that, all of you who are actually doing it on your company, you can go ahead and create a link with the partner. And if you have a failed link, we will figure out that. But mostly, if you are using this as a partner company, the same master data, it should be successful for your company as well. As long as you have a global identifier present on the network. Yes.
So while assigning the role, we should be very specific about what exactly.
Yes, correct.
That will affect the.
It will affect on how you will be able to see the transactions on the partner and owner side.
Okay.
Right. So I will get into the details when we go to that page exactly. Okay. Okay. So once you have link created, so you have now process network created, you have link created. Okay. Your users have, so if you have the process network created and link created, what you can do is you are a mint owner. You can go to my networks, click here. And what you will be able to see is this process network appearing here in the dropdown. And you will be able to see these menu items and submenu items under that. So this all transaction means, and all transaction has two submenus. One is business transaction that is applicable for all other transaction except for serialized shipment. And then you have another submenu for serialization transaction, which is applicable for this use case. So this screen is very similar to our info exchange screen on TTS side, right? So it shows you the state of the delivery, the result, the type, which is always going to be shipment, and then transaction identifier, which is your delivery number, then who's the sender, who's the receiver, what is the input file, what is the output file, and last date and time. If there is some failure, you will see that as state and result, and you can also then go into the transaction to find out the error itself. And the other role, so this is the role that on owner side, this role where you are able to see this all transaction is called as all transaction owner end. On the partner side, this is the role all transaction partner. Now the other two roles that we assigned to the link, on the owner side, those roles are serialization, supplier, expanded. Serialization is process, supplier is my company's role, and because I'm owner, so I'll not add partner. So I'll be serialization, supplier, expanded, serialization, supplier, standard. So then you will be able to see this menu item here called Serialized Traceability Supplier. And what it does is when you click here, it shows you the detail of the shipment that was done, right? So in SOM, so imagine Info Exchange, what you do is you see if a transaction was successful. But if you want to look into the details of actual message, you go to SOM, you go to outbound delivery, view delivery, and then you see the delivery. So this is where you take. Now, this is where roles are important. If I did not have the correct role, then even if I have this option, if this option might have said serialized traceability supplier, and I go to serialized shipment notice, I will not find any transaction there because maybe someone assigned to me the roles called serialization supplier partner expanded, right? So those will not match and will not be able to see the details of the shipment. Okay. So one of the things that you can do as an owner now, you can go to the link and you will also be able to see the list of partners here if there are more than one, and list of the process network that my company owns or I own in this dropdown. So as of now, we just have one, but if we have more than one, that list would appear here. Same with the partners. Okay. Now we'll go to the B2B integration. So this is where we set up all of our B2B part, which is how the file get transferred from one system to another. What are those settings that we do? So till now, we created a process network. We created a link. We assigned role to the users. Now we are going to actually configure our system to be able to, in this case, files sent by SOM will be received by owner's Mint and then forwarded to the partner. So for all practical purposes, you can ignore the last tab called integration principle, which is a very similar concept of integration user on TTS side. But there is a default integration principle present, which should be enough for all the options that we are going to set up. Let's start with transform sets. So now transform sets are similar to maps. So what you will do here is when the data is transferred from SOM to Mint, it happens through jump box. So on the TTS side itself, when the SOM sale shipment is submitted, maybe from the UI or maybe when it received via B2B, it gets submitted internally. A canonical is generated. That canonical is received by Mint. Now we know the concept. We understand the canonical. So we do not need a transform present on this side. There would be a transform, system transform, which converts data from Opus canonical to Mint canonical. But not going into those details, we will not need an inbound transform because we are dealing with canonicals already, right? So on the inbound side, on the owner side, we do not need a transform if we are getting data from the SOM, right? What we do need is a post-processing transform, right? Now, setting up the post-processing transform is very similar to setting up any transform or any transform set. So what we will do is you'll click on this plus icon called add transform set. And then you will give it a name. So you can give it name like Mint. Includes the post-processing transform, which is this PPT generic all orchestration, which is enabled for your or deployed for your company if your company was listed in the sheet. So what you can do is just download this CSV, go here, give your post-processing transform a name, click on attach, and then attach that CSV here and click on add. You don't need to modify anything. You don't need to do anything else. Just download the CSV file as it is, and then you can click on link, click on add. Again, system will take some time, sometimes 2 to 4 minutes to show the post-processing transform on the user interface. But this is how it will look like. If you click on view transform set, it will look like this. So message type is serial shipment notice, direction in inbound, catalog is private because we are enabling this for this company itself, and the transform name is generic.
So sorry, Hello, just one question. As you mentioned, like it's a outbound post-processing transformation from Mint to outbound, right? So, but direction is it inbound?
Yes. So the post-processing transform any any transactions that are sent to Mint inbound, right? So the reference here is Mint. So when the transactions are sent inbound, they will first pass through a normal transform, which will convert them to canonical. And then that inbound canonical will pass through the post-processing transform, which will do the addition of adding the resolving process networks, adding the subtypes and so on, which we will discuss, of course, later. But yeah, that direction would be inbound always for post-processing transform.
Okay.
And the post-processing transform will only exist on the owner side, never on the partner side. And the post-processing transform, one of the things that you will observe here is, so when on the TTS side, when you create an info exchange profile, you first choose what is the B2B connection to which you want to associate all those maps, so that when the transaction comes to that B2B connection, then system knows that I have to pass it through this disposition assigned or disposition updated transform. So every transform set or map set or map file on the TTS side is associated with a B2B connection. So same concept is on the Opus, but that is for the normal transform set, for your company transform set. For post-processing transform set, they are not associated to a B2B connection. The difference is, if those are connected to a B2B connection, it means you are sending a customer format in, and then transform is converting it to canonical, right? Post-processing transform was set up at application layer. So the input is also canonical, output is also canonical. So they are set up for your system. Now your whole system, your company can have multiple B2B connections. Multiple B2B connections would be receiving transactions in many formats. So there are 3 B2B connections. Maybe one is receiving transactions in IDOC format, inbound, another one in external format, another one in Edifact format. But those all transactions, they come in, go to a transform, canonical gets generated, and then they pass through a single post-processing transform. So it will not be associated to a B2B connection or any entity. So as soon as you are able to upload it, and you can see it here, the task is done. For this particular use case where Mint owner is sending a transaction to the partner company, connection, association, and link settings do not matter, because remember, we are not creating any B2B connection or method in the owner company. The source of the data is SOM, right? So transactions are not coming from outside. Transactions are generated on TTS, SOM, and then sent to Mint. So these options are applicable. These would be applicable in partner company because there is a B2B connection, but they are not applicable on the owner company. So on owner company, we created network, we created link with partner. To create link, we needed to have master data. Then on B2B integration, we created a post-processing transform set. And now directly we will go to message set. Now, message setting tells your system how
just a
do you
question,
want
Alok. Integration principal, we don't need it? We don't need it anymore?
you don't need it anymore. Yes.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All you would need it, and that's a good question, so Rafiki, which reminds me this. All you would need it by default in every company, there would be one system integration principle present and active. As of now, on the admin, we give an option to deactivate this integration, system integration principle. But as a practice, we should never, ever do it. We should never deactivate the system integration principle. So in future, admin releases will restrict this deactivation of system integration principle. But this is what you have to do. You have to just make sure that there is a system integration principle which will be there by default, and that is in active mode. You don't deactivate. Now, folks who are familiar with what it used to take to set up integration principle will appreciate it a lot, right? Because that used to be a very difficult concept to explain and also a difficult thing to do. every time when you add new partner. So now you don't need to do that step. That is redundant. Okay.
And if we had old account, if we had an old account that had integration principle, it doesn't have any effect if it's still there, right?
Correct. Yes, for the existing accounts, it does not have any.
Okay.
B2B is looking for system integration principle now and ignoring all the other integration principle that were there in this system. Okay, so it is totally okay, Rafiki, if we leave all those other integration principles active as well. We don't need to activate or deactivate any integration principle into the system for existing accounts. Okay.
Okay, that's clear. Thanks.
And this is applicable on both the sides, owner and partner, both the sides. So the same concept. Okay, now when you are in message setting, first we will set up the inbound message setting. Because for our company, we are just receiving the messages inbound. So if I go to B2B integration, message settings, and I can click this option called configure inbound message setting. So what you will see here is I will have to select an owner, which will be multi-enterprise information network tower. We will select sender company or location, which will always be our own company, right? So from the list of top down, you will select your owner company. Now the transform set here, if your post-processing transform is added to the system, you will see that post-processing transform option here and you'll select that. And that's it. This is your inbound configuration and you will click on save. You do not need to explicitly mention the link ID. Okay. So these are the only settings for inbound message for an owner company. That you
It's internal customer.
Yeah, customers can do it by themselves. Okay. Now, what this will ensure is any transaction coming to our company will always pass through this post-processing transform. Now, you will also observe one thing in owner company that as soon as you create a link with the partner, there would be an empty, and we call it object on Opus, there would be an empty object created. So in your company also, you will observe that there will be an object created where owner of the application would be your company, your process network. Company or location would be the partner company with which you have created the link. Direction would be outbound. And this message type would be blank by default when the settings get created. So what this says is as soon as you create a link, an object gets created automatically into the owner system as well as partner system. Now, as of today, so this is how partners will receive the message on their side, what they want to do when they receive the transaction. Now, as of today, admin has this limitation, company admin has this limitation that from the partner side, you cannot edit this configuration. So this has to be edited from the owner side. So this object gets created. Once it gets created, you'll click on edit. You'll go here. So by default, it will be application owner, the owner company. And then the partner company, the routing transform set here does not have any meaning because this is partner's configuration. So you can ignore this and link identifier. You would always keep owner to owner yes, because Mint is smart enough to know whether the receiving company has a Mint licensed or not. So if you keep it the owner to owner yes all the time, system will act as it should. And in future, if the partner company also becomes Mint owner, it will be easier for us to configure. But then you select the message type from the list of drop down. So you could type serial. And you can select the message type. On the delivery option, you have 3 delivery options: no processing, transform only, transform and deliver. So no processing, as the name suggests, it does not do any processing. It does not do any transform. This is used in service to service use cases. We will learn that later. Transform only option, what it does is on the partner side, when the transaction reaches it will convert the file, the outbound canonical into the file, outbound file, but it will not send it to the B2B. The files will be available on the UI and anyone can go and download the outbound file from the UI. The transform and deliver option ensures that the files are transformed on the partner side as well as sent to the B2B connection so that partners can receive the file. So these are partner settings that are done on the owner side. Okay, so in your company, you will find this object, click on edit, go to message type, delivery option, transform and deliver, and click on save. Now with that, we have completed all the configuration steps for the owner company. And now I am logged into the partner company. So let's look at the partner side of steps. So on the partner side, when you are logged in, what you will be able to do as a system administrator is that, so first of all, you will be able to go to administration option, right? Now you can, so you are a partner, you're not going to create a process network, right? So if you go to networks, you select the application, click on apply, go here. You should not be able to see this option, okay? Because it is a partner company. Now, what I see here is when I go here on the list of network, I see there are a lot of links that have been created, and all these entities in all these links, my company's role is partner. I can go to the link and see the same thing there. These links that have been created. So DW Pharmaceutical created a link with my company. They added me onto the network, RM Pharma, HP. So these are the different companies that have linked to this partner. Okay. Now they are linked to these companies and probably they have given the roles as well. So if I go to now, I will not go to my networks because my company, if this company acts as a partner, so I'll go to partner networks. And here you will see an important, okay, so maybe I don't have the roles assigned other than for these two. So I'll have to specifically assign roles first. My user for each of the networks. So if I want to see my networks, first what I will do is I'll go to the networks, apply, and then click on this plus icon, right? Now, if I am an internal user, I can select this one, the team, and then these are the roles that have been added by the owner when they were creating the link. So you can see in this example, when this company, this owner created a link, they did not assign all transaction partner admin role. That's why it does not appear in the dropdown. Now, if they go back and assign that role once again to that link, the role will start appearing here. So for now, I can select these two roles that have been assigned. Click on assign. Okay, so similarly, I will keep on, and for the partner company, since we have just one partner company, for now, just follow along and then I will add your users onto this partner company. So rest of you can complete these steps by yourself. Okay, so the very first thing that you will do is to add partner users on the link, right? So you'll go to users, you'll select the link, you already have link created, select the link, click on apply, click on add user to the network, select your internal user or external user, select your internal or external user, add roles, and click on apply. Now this task is done. We don't have to create the process network. We don't have to create the link are already created. Process network is already created. We are just assigning the user access to that. And then we'll go to B2B integration. Now in B2B integration, again, as I said, integration principle is not required. We just need to make sure there is one system integration principle, and that is active, not deactivated, and we'll go to transform set. Now on the partner side, transform set acts a bit differently. Now, this is a actual transform set. This is not the post-processing transform set. The transform set on the partner side, the purpose that it has is that the outbound canonical generated by owner's mint will pass through this outbound transform and generate the actual outbound file, right? So what you will do is, if you look at, the create effect. So if you go here, you should find the transform. And again, there is an example here somewhere where you will find which transform you should upload. So this is a sample transform set CSV that is attached to your wiki page, right? So you can use this transform set. So again, if you go to the wiki page, either from here or from the presentation, you will find this link. So you can simply download this CSV file on your PC, go to the partner company, follow the same steps, go to the partner company, go to transform set, click on plus, name your transform set. So again, you can name it network name -ts, but then again, you can use any names and then attach the CSV file here and click on add. So when you do that, use the same CSV that you'll download from the wiki page, you should see an entry with the transform set here. Okay. Now, one thing that you would do differently on the partner side is partner has to receive these transactions on a B2B connection. So there should be a B2B connection created on the partner side. It was not required on the owner side, but it is required on the partner side. To create the B2B connection, you need to have access to this application called XTT AWS or Extensible Tracing Transfer AWS. You can add the roles. Again, roles already are mentioned. How do you achieve these steps? So you go to users, apps, XTT AWS, click on apply, and you can add the roles to your user, partner user here. You can click on this link and you can assign the application administrator role so that you will be able to create a B2B connection. Now within XTT application, again, I'm not going to get into the detail of how you create a B2B connection because those are the steps that are documented. You can create, for example, for this partner, I have created multiple SFTP connections here. So you can click on add B2B connection and follow instructions, and you will be able to create a B2B connection. Now, SFTP on Opus, which you will be mostly using for your testing purposes. The SFTP authentication is certificate based, right? On the TTS side, the SFTP authentication is username password based, but on the Opus side, you will generate a public and private key combination. Public key will go here, private key you will keep with yourself, and you will generate a passphrase for that private key. Again, all those steps you will find on the wiki page, and if you execute them, you'll be able to create a B2B connection and verify that. Now, when you have added a transform set on the partner side, then you will have to associate that transform set to a B2B connection. So that you can do here. Click on configuration association and B2B connection. Now, for all the folks who are right now doing the same configuration where BioLink Soul is acting as your partner, you have created a link with BioLink Soul for your company, right? Your company is an owner company. We on the partner side do not need to create separate B2B connections for all the owners. All the serialized transactions for all the owner companies can go to one single B2B connection on the partner side. So as long as I have one connection on the partner side associated with the correct transform, owners can keep on linking to my company and my company will keep on receiving this transaction. So For owners, once your job is finished, once you have done your steps, you are good to start using your transactions without worrying about the partner part. So this partner part, transform set is added. This will be one-time activity, assuming we are using a single set of transform for all the partner, which we would. Connection association. So there is whichever B2B connection, if you create a B2B connection on your XTT, by default, that B2B connection will always be associated at company level for any inbound transaction. Now, with this particular use case, we are not doing inbound from the partner side, right? Partner is going to receive these transactions outbound. Okay. So we need to explicitly create an outbound connection association. How do we do that? Is we go to partner side, we click on add outbound association, select the SFTP connection, which we want to SFTP, AS2 or any other connection. And then since we are going to, partner is going to receive it at company level, we will not select any other options and click on add. This will ensure when the file is received by partner instance, it will get delivered to this B2B connection outbound. Okay. At a time, there would be only one outbound association with one node. And we'll talk about node, but yeah. So you will have this association, outbound association with one of the B2B connection only in your system for the company. If you see, this is for a location and the other one should not be associated for outbound. Now, one of the things, so these are all can be transform set, connection association can be one-time activity for partner as well, right? Now, the activity that would change with each owner, right, on the partner side is creating the link settings and the message setting. Message setting is already done by owner. So on the partner side, you don't need to worry about that. Remember the message setting, we already set it up on the owner side. So you will see it here. See, this is already, ignore this. There should be a company name here, but this is an admin issue. But the outbound setting is always done by owner. So as far as partner companies are concerned, the only thing that partner companies, once they have connected to one owner, start exchanging the data, the only thing that they will have to change or do every time with each new owner is to create a link setting. Now, link settings are created per owner and partner combination in context to a B2B connection. So what it does is, so let me just do it and show you because it might be harder to explain. You select a B2B connection where partner company is going to receive the document. Okay. Now, this company or location, so you will run this query twice or run this configuration twice. First time, you will select partner company and you will add the partner identifier type and value here. So company ID and you can type it. Now, for the partner side, the step for partner itself has been done already when they connected to the first owner. So they don't have to do it every time. On the same connection, they just have to every time add an owner's link setting and type the owner identified type and value. And then connection information would be all blank and you can click on save. Now what this does is when you create a SOM sale shipment on TTS side, right? You put sender and receiver from business to business, right? So those are your IDs. You can select either GLM, company ID or whatever. If you are using UI, you can do lookup. If you are sending transaction for B2B, you can choose lookup or you can send in all the values. Now on the outbound side, when the EPCS file is generated, that file will also have a sender and receiver, right? And those sender and receiver are identified in terms of a identified type and value. Now partners might ask for a specific sender and receiver type value in the outbound file. This is the value that goes as sender and receiver, right? So if a new owner is added, what would be the sender ID type and value that will go into the outbound EPCS file header? So this is company ID RM Pharma or GLN, whatever GLN you want. If the sender is RM Pharma, then this value is going to be in the outbound file at header. And for partner, you have already configured it once for themselves. So they keep on using this. So even the link setting part, when you are doing it for the first time, you do it for owner and partner both. If they are going to receive this EPCS file on this B2B connection, system will see who is the sender of the document. That will be RM Pharma. So what would be the sender identified type and value that should be present in the outbound EPCS file? And then for the receiver, it will see that receiver is Biolink Soul, the partner company, and they will add sender and receiver ID here. So you can type company ID or you can just leave it as it is, because you can't create more than one object for the same company or location for the same, right? So that is the only change that you will. So if you are doing settings for the first time, what all you'll have to do it, any new link, right? You will have to add the roles for the first time, right? That is applicable for any new link because link is created by owner. Integration principle, you don't have to worry about. Transform sets are created once. So if, for example, Sigala is a Glenmark partner, Sigala gave us their format and said, we want all the files that are delivered to us in this format. So we created a transform for them, applied the transform into their system. Now it doesn't matter if company A sends file to them or company B sends file to them. For them, they will always receive the file into their format. So we don't need to change anything here. We don't need to change anything here in the connection association after the first time. First time when we are configuring a partner system, we need to create the connection association because we want to tell where the transaction will. Link setting would be applicable for each owner after the first time. For the first time, this link setting will be created for owner and partner both, and then it would be applicable. For you'll have to create it for owner only, and then finally the message. So with that, your configurations will get completed, and we are also on the time. I wanted to discuss other stuff as well. How do you test it? So now to test it, what you will do is on all these links that have been added, the outbound setting have not been edited yet. So on the owner side, you can edit this setting. And the shipment that the batch you have on the TTS side, you can create an outbound delivery. Choose ship to country code as one of the country codes that is available or enabled for Mint. Do the shipment and your shipment, then you should be able to see it on the Mint UI when you log in to your owner company. You should see the transactions flowing into your owner company. And you will see both. You will be able to, if the transaction goes end to end, if you go to serialized transaction, you'll be able to see. For rest of the topics, we'll have to arrange one more session because we need more time to do that. And we will revisit today's session and then take it forward.